All right, welcome back. 10.3 areas of parallelograms and trapezoids. So before we were talking about just the shapes themselves, so triangles, quadrilaterals, parallelograms, and things like that. Now we're going to get into specific traits about them, such as how to find the areas of these shapes, and also eventually we'll move into 3D figures involving these shapes, and it'll include finding the surface area and volume. But for now, we're just talking about area, and we're only talking about parallelograms and trapezoids. So we're going to be diving into some formulas on those. But first, let's understand the vocabulary of the different aspects of these shapes. So for example, when it says the base, the highlighted side here is a base, and this is a base, just the length of any one of its sides. So this could also be a base along with this, depending on how you wanted to label it. Okay, now it says the perpendicular distance. So the height of the parallelogram is the perpendicular. Remember, that means 90 degrees. So because this forms a 90 degree, that's the height. Don't get that confused with this, because that is not a 90 degree angle. That would not be the height. Whatever it says here, that's your height. Okay, and it says base of a trapezoid. These are the parallel sides. So this and this side would never be bases. It's only the parallel sides. And then lastly, it says height of a trapezoid. Again, perpendicular distance. So this and this, if they gave you those lengths, those are not the height. The height is the distance from one parallel side to the other. So to find area of a parallelogram, just like it was with rectangles, it's base times height. Well, now it's the same with the parallelogram, except for now remember, if it did give you the length here, so let's say this was 7, this side is not the height. It's the perpendicular distance. This is what we want. That's your height. So in this case, area would just be 8 times 6, which is 48 meters squared. So that's the area of that parallelogram. Now, in general, finding the area of a parallelogram says find the height. So if it's, remember, height equals, it says the base of a parallelogram is 8 yards. So that means this is 8 and that's 8. The height is 3 times the base. Well, if it's 3 times the base, 3 times 8, so it's 24 yards. Now let's find the actual area. So if the height, which obviously this isn't drawn to scale, is 24, I'm going to take area equals 8 times 24, which is going to be 192 yards squared. So the parallelogram has an area of 192 square yards. Area of a trapezoid is a slightly trickier formula. It's not just base times height, because remember, those bases aren't the same. So we have to take that into account. So it's base 1 plus base 2 times a half times height. So what that looks like in this case, area is 1/2, base 1, again, is 5, plus base 2 is 7, remember, these are never bases, times the height, which is 4. And then we put that all together. So that's 1/2. And we have to do what's inside the parentheses first. So 5 plus 7 is 12 times 4. So half of 12 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24 centimeters squared. So another example here. All right, so it's asking for the area of this trapezoid. So base 1, base 2. So I take 1/2 base 1 plus base 2. Now, how do you know, Mrs. Gerard, how do you know the difference between base 1 and base 2? Well, it doesn't really matter. 5 plus 11 is the same thing as 11 plus 5. It's not going to change anything. And the height is 3. So do what's in parentheses first. 5 plus 11, 16. Half of 16 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. So the trapezoid has an area of 24 square inches. Find the area of these. So again, for a parallelogram, this is area is going to equal base times height. Parallelogram again, area equals base times height. Trapezoid, however, is going to be area equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height, and the same here. Base 1 plus base 2 times height. So in this case, area is just going to be equal to 3 times 16, which is going to be 48 feet squared. This one, area is just going to be 8 times 12. So area is 96 meters squared. Here, area equals 1/2 8 plus 4 times my height 3. So area equals 1/2 8 plus 4 is 12 times 3. So half of 12 is 6. 6 times 3, oops, 18 centimeters squared. And this last one, area equals 1/2. Now don't get fooled here. Remember, the bases are the parallel sides. So this is just 9 plus 18 times my height is 16, because this is the distance from one parallel side to the other, the perpendicular distance to be exact. So area equals half of 9 plus 18 is 27. So 9 plus 18 is 27 divided by 2 is 13.5. So 13.5 times 16 is 216 inches squared. All right. And then sometimes they will leave out, they'll give you the area and then leave out and ask what's the height or what's one of the bases or something like that. So in this case, it says find unknown, for the unknown length on this one, it says find the height of a trapezoid, or the height of the trapezoid is 8 feet. So area of the trapezoid is 108. So I go ahead and plug 108 in for area. 1/2 base 1. Oh, we don't know. That's what we're finding. Plus, or we're finding base 2. One of the bases, though, it says is 12 feet. And then it says the height is 8 feet. Okay, so 108, and I can multiply a half and 8 right away because this is being multiplied by this is being multiplied by this. So 2 times 3 times 4 is the same thing as 3 times 2 times 4, which is the same thing as 4 times 3 times 2. All those are the same thing. It doesn't matter what order I put these in, it's all the same. So if I want to take a half and multiply by 8 first, that's okay. So that's just going to get me 4 times 12 plus base 2. Then I'm going to distribute. So I get 108, and then 12 times 4 is 48 plus 4b sub 2. Now, we're trying to solve for b sub 2. What's happening to b sub 2? It's being multiplied by 4, and it's being added by 48. What's the opposite of, what do we have to do first in order of operations? See how this stuff comes up all the time? Got to add or subtract first, then multiply or divide, because we got to go that direction. So it's being added by 48, so I subtract 48 from both sides. And then that gets me 60. Now we already added and subtracted, cool. Now we gotta look to multiply or divide. Well, it's being multiplied by 4, so I divide both sides by 4. And that gets me 15. So the other base is 15 feet in this case. And that concludes 10.3. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.